be kind is more important than to be right. Many times what people need is not a brilliant mind that speaks, but a special heart that listens. A quote from learningstationmusic.com. It's Child Month, so let us vow to be kind to our children as we embrace the theme to encourage, enable, and involve them positively. Hello, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Welcome to Jamaica Magazine. Today we recap some of the government's strategies to maintain law and order, plus measures to enable learning by students with special needs. And we'll tell you about the winner of the Houses of Parliament Design Competition. All that and more in this half hour.
It keeps our bodies working, our food nutritious, our living and working spaces clean, and our lives comfortable. Water, the most precious resource necessary for the sustenance of life on our planet. Don't waste it. Let's conserve on this critical commodity. In the house, invest in storage containers and buckets. Take quick showers instead of long baths, and invest in water-efficient shower heads, toilets, and faucets. You may also want to consider one-pot meals and cooking methods that don't require much water. You could also wash fruits and vegetables in a bowl and reuse the water on your plants or grass. When cleaning dishes, fill both sinks and use one for washing and the other for rinsing. The leftover water can be used to wash off the concrete or asphalt in your yard. If you must wash your car at home, aim for once a fortnight and use a bucket to do the washing instead of running the hose. Don't delay. Start your water conservation practices today.
Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Thursday, May 2. National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang today announced the beginning of a major reformation of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, JCF. According to a release from Dr. Chang's office, the Commissioner of Police, Major General Anthony Anderson, has advised the government that the reforms will come in short order. They include major changes to both the management and oversight of the police force, as well as to entities within the JCF. Senior Superintendent of Police, SSP Terence Bent, is being sent on leave to facilitate investigations at the Mobile Reserve. Assistant Commissioner of Police, ACP Warren Clark, is to oversee the winding up of Mobile Reserve. He will also develop the framework for a new vetted specialized operations organization that will be properly trained and equipped to respond to current and future threats. The police commissioner has also updated the administration on the strategic plan for the JCF, which Dr. Chang says will enjoy budgetary and legislative support from government. These plans will be executed this year, and the Commissioner and Security Minister will provide the country with further details at a press conference planned for next week. Asserting that crime is the greatest threat to the country's development, Minister Chang is calling on citizens and members of the JCF to embrace this evolution and transformation of the force. Meanwhile, the states of emergency, now in effect for the three most western parishes, are bearing fruit. According to reports from the Corporate Communications Unit of the JCF, the security forces detained one man in Broughton District, Westmoreland, in connection with the seizure of a CZ compact pistol and 7 rounds of ammunition. 1,800 rounds of assorted ammunition and magazines were also seized at a warehouse at Freeport in St. James. So far, 37 persons have been detained since the April 29 declaration of the states of public emergency in St. James, Hanover, and Westmoreland. The Joint Security Forces have also released tip lines for the public to share information. They are 311 or 876-837-8888. Customer service lines have also been established for detention centers. They are 876-836-4922 for Westmoreland, 876-837-9940 for Hanover, and 876-836-4303 for St. James. Minister of State in the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, Alando Terrelonge, is calling on all Jamaicans to protect the rights of our children as the nation mourns two young girls murdered just weeks apart. On Tuesday morning, 11-year-old Trisha Morris was found dead in her Hanover community after being reported missing on Saturday, April 27. Weeks earlier, 8-year-old Shante Skyers' body was discovered in her St. Andrew community after being reported missing a few days earlier. Investigations into both murders are ongoing. In the meantime, Minister Terrelonge says the murder of both young Trisha and Shante should prompt outrage and act as a wake-up call for Jamaicans to take action and cooperate with investigators to put the perpetrators behind bars. He says the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information will continue to provide counseling support to the school communities. The minister's urgings come as the nation begins to celebrate May's Child Month under the theme Encourage, Enable, Include Me. In other news, United States President Donald Trump has promised to look into the damaging effects U.S. travel advisories and warnings have on tourism in the Caribbean region. That's one of the outcomes of a March 22 meeting involving the U.S. President and the leaders of 5 Caribbean countries, including Jamaica. Prime Minister Andrew Holness told Tuesday's sitting of Parliament that the meeting, which was held in Palm Beach, Florida, provided Jamaica with the opportunity to discuss security and economic interests with the island's largest trading and security partner. Talks also explored ways to strengthen bilateral and regional relationships, particularly in energy, security, investments, and infrastructure.
The President wanted to hear the leaders' perspectives on a range of issues, including the current economic outlook for each country in attendance and for the region generally. Areas in which the U.S. could offer greater support, the situation in Venezuela, the respective perspectives of the leaders who attended on Cuba.
Government has set aside $300 million to upgrade community structures into centers of excellence for tourism experiences. In Parliament Tuesday, Portfolio Minister Edmund Bartlett said the funds would be used across all 63 constituencies to target unused, underutilized, and derelict structures and turn them into creative places.
It is not going to be for putting up fences, nor bushing. It is going to be to create economic experiences that visitors and locals alike can come to and provide economic well-being for the people in the community.
Minister Bartlett says that program will complement the over $200 million spent on upgrading beaches across the island. The beach upgrading continues with Winifred Beach in Portland and Poggy Beach in St. Mary. Meanwhile, the all-island tourism security audit is reportedly 30% complete. The audit is being carried out by the government with help from international tourism security expert Dr. Peter Tarlow.
To date, Mr. Speaker, 300 hotels and guest houses have been targeted for the audit, and 90 properties, or 30%, have been audited. The audit is scheduled to be completed by the end of June, at which time we'll roll out a new protocol on visitor safety and security.
The tourism minister was making his contribution to the sectoral debate in Parliament on Tuesday. The audit is aimed at assessing the security vulnerabilities of hotels and attractions, uncover non-compliance, deficiencies and irregularities, and assist operators to enhance the quality of their security apparatus. It's being spearheaded by the Tourism Product Development Company and is part of efforts to ramp up the island's Destination Assurance Program.
Some of these initiatives, Mr. Speaker, include the Team Jamaica training and an anti-harassment campaign to change the mindset and behavior as it relates to visitor relations. Product development and community tourism, in addition, Mr. Speaker, to a licensing program to ensure that their standards are maintained.
And finally, Minister of Transport and Mining Robert Montague says the liberalization of the public transport system is to take effect June 3. The process, which was set to begin this month, was delayed to facilitate applications for the renewal of road licenses. Under the liberalized system, the Transport Authority will continue accepting new applications for all categories of road licenses except hackney carriages in the Kingston Metropolitan Transport Region. The Public Transport Regulator will also be introducing the Regional License Approval (RLA) process in June to decentralize and automate the process of road license application. It is expected that the RLA system will reduce the turnover time for new road license applications from 21 working days to 10 working days. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
Jamaica Eye is part of an island-wide network of camera surveillance systems designed to increase the safety of you, our citizens. If you have a camera system outside your home or office facing a public space, join us in helping to make Jamaica a safer place for all. Log on to jamaicai.gov.jm today. Jamaica Eye, we're all connected. The Ministry of National Security, creating a safer and prosperous Jamaica.
On Tuesday, Prime Minister Andrew Holness declared states of emergency for St. James, Westmoreland and Hanover. This was in response to an increase in murders and violent crimes in the three western parishes. We recap presentations from the Prime Minister and his team, as they also shared how you can get involved.
After careful consideration and review of the crime statistics, in particular violent crimes which have been committed in some western parishes, the security forces have advised that the situation now currently exists would warrant the government advising the Governor General to proclaim a state of public emergency in the community of the entire area comprising the parishes of St. James, Hanover, and Westmoreland. This proclamation shall, unless previously revoked, remain in place for 14 days or for such longer period, not exceeding 3 months, as both Houses of Parliament may determine by resolution supported by a 2/3 majority of all the members of each House.
If I just draw your attention to the map on the left, this is actually an image of Jamaica in 2017 and what the situation obtained then. And this, what you're seeing up here, is the number of persons who were murdered in the parishes per 100,000. And we're using that because it is an international accepted benchmark of how you measure these things, and also it speaks to the risk to population in this area. In 2018, there was a change. As you see, the parish of St. James now went down to 55, which meant that the parish of Westmoreland was the most murder-dense place in the country. Secondly was the parish of Hanover. If you look at what has happened since the beginning of 2019, Westmoreland is now leading. St. James has gone up 70% over where it was last year at this point, and Hanover is still significantly high. It was these figures and the challenge of violence in these spaces that caused myself and the CDS to recommend to the Prime Minister that we declare a state of public emergency in these areas. We must save lives.
The state of emergency will give the security forces temporary additional powers, including additional powers of search, arrest, and detention. We acknowledge that persons may be justifiably concerned about the implications of the security operation as they go about their everyday lives. We want to assure the citizens of Jamaica that both the JDF and JCF have been properly trained and oriented to give due regard to the basic human and citizen rights of all persons within the communities. We intend to continue this approach in this particular case. Nonetheless, we urge persons to acquaint themselves with the regulations and requirements governing the state of emergency in order to easily and conveniently transit the areas as they go about their lawful business. In order to assist in this regard, we will be working closely with the media to ensure swift and open communication of these rules and requirements. During the period of the state of emergency, citizens will encounter various operations, including highly visible vehicle checkpoints. The purpose of these checkpoints are not to inconvenience citizens, but rather to add a robust element of security for residents as well as other citizens transiting the area. We ask citizens that for ease and simplicity, as they approach these checkpoints, to lower their windows and during dark periods to turn on their roof lights. We also implore citizens that as they comply with the guidelines to transit the area, they should not slow down excessively beyond what they are asked to do, just observe the activities, as that will cause an increase in traffic buildup. As we pledge to carry out our operations with the professionalism and respect that we are known for, we're also seeking the cooperation and support of the citizens in this area and indeed all across Jamaica. We're asking you to use any one of the available tip lines to report gang or other violent activities. 311 for the JCF tip line and 876-837-8888 for the JDF tip line. This community support is a key component of our intelligence gathering process and rests heavily upon your input and involvement. Please help us to identify these individuals by reporting them.
It's now time to look at how the Ministry of Education is facilitating learning among students with special needs.
Welcome to our discussion on attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. With me is Education Officer in the Special Education Unit in the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, Mrs. Christina Addington. Welcome, Mrs. Addington.
Thanks for having me.
The ministry has established a student support team to assist students that are diagnosed with ADHD, as well as providing a learning environment tailored to their needs. What exactly is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder?
Well, Joey, as stated in the name, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder is a behavior disorder, and its core symptoms are inattention, hyperactivity, and impulsivity. The disorder, for some unknown reason, is more prevalent in boys than girls. And the disorder is a common disorder, and we have up to 10% of the children being diagnosed as having attention deficit hyperactivity disorder.
So how does it manifest itself?
With students who are diagnosed with this disorder, we find that their inattention causes them in the classroom to not maintain focus for long periods of time. They are often daydreaming. Their hyperactivity causes them to be what they call restless, always fidgeting, squirming, can't sit down. Impulsivity. They are the ones who are always blurting out the answers, can't wait to take their turns, and always getting into little squabbles because of the impulsivity. They tend to act and then think about it after.
So how does ADHD affect the student's ability to learn?
Based on some of the characteristic features which I said, we know that it is normal child development allows for the children to be very active and not sitting down. But when it is chronic and when it is affecting their academic life and their social life, then they're usually referred for a diagnosis to be made. So if the inattention is way more than is expected for the level of the child's development, we don't expect a 3-year-old to sit down for 20 minutes. But a 10-year-old should be able to sit down for 20 minutes. So, we look at child development and see what is atypical about the development, and then the children are referred because we see the signals. They're referred for a diagnosis to be made.
How is a diagnosis made of ADHD?
For a diagnosis to be made, what happens? The diagnosis is made by a medical practitioner or a psychologist. It is not a single test that is done, but a number of rating scales are administered, and important to note is the fact that information is gained from both the academic setting, that's the school, and the social setting, so the home. So information is gained, is analyzed based on the scores from the checklist, then the diagnosis is made. It's important to note, as I said, that for the child to be diagnosed, the behaviors have to be observed across the settings. So it can't be that it's just being experienced at home and not in school, or at school and not at home. It has to be evident across the settings before a diagnosis, a concrete diagnosis is made.
Mrs. Christina Addington from the Special Education Unit in the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information shared some vital information with us on how to effectively deal with children who are diagnosed with ADHD. And we want to thank her for joining us today. Thank you, Mrs. Addington.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. And until next time, see you around.
Following the launch of the Houses of Parliament design competition in 2018, more than 200 submissions were received. That was narrowed down to 24, then 5. The designers went all out in their proposed designs for the new Parliament building. But in the end, there can only be one winner.
At moments like these, out of many one people.
I'm living right now, 'cause I'm winning right now, yeah, winning right now, yeah.
Out of many one people is the design for the new Parliament building proposed to be built in the National Heroes Park. It is anticipated that it will replace Gordon House as the country's meeting place for the House of Representatives and the Senate. It emerged the winner of the Houses of Parliament design competition from a field of 24 entries. The design also copped the People's Choice Award.
Out of many one is a fitting name for our Parliament building. It represents, in its form and in its structure, all of us, all Jamaica.
The Grand Veranda team walked away with second place, while Ubuntu got third place.
Well, obviously we're a bit disappointed, but we worked really hard, and I think we can take a lot of strength from this opportunity here.
It's not a result that we expected, not the result we wanted based on the work we put in.
The final decision was left to the 7-member jury, who had the difficult task of selecting the top design from what is believed to be a very complex challenge of designing a Parliament building.
Well, it was a very difficult process. There were a lot of really good quality entries. There were a lot of interesting debates and discussions. All the entries had met the criteria of the competition brief. So then we were looking deeper into a number of issues. And after discussing those, I think the ranking just emerged clearly. They were all excellent. But the order, we thought that the top one fitted the bill perfectly.
The finalists were supported by the Parliamentary Steering Committee and patron of the competition.
It has been a fantastic journey. I've worked with some incredibly brilliant people. I've been exposed to the finer art of architectural science.
The experience for the competition has been great. I couldn't have asked for a smoother process. I think everyone did their job very, very well. I think the standards were very, very high, and I'm thrilled by the outcome.
Jamaica UAV Limited also came on board to further assist the winner of the competition with 3D aerial mapping of the park and surrounding areas.
The then competitors can then use that 3D map and take their 3D design and incorporate it to see not only what their design will look like, but the entire neighborhood as a whole would look like.
After months of intense competition, the nation is now closer to the reality of a new Houses of Parliament building, symbolizing its statehood and progressive spirit.
The building is necessary to improve the governance of the country. We have to make sure that the Parliament is functional and that the people who occupy the Parliament, their capacity to produce is improved. So I was really focused on functionality.
I tell you, I spent 2 years in the present Parliament, and it's a great pleasure to know that whoever is coming after me will find a more accommodative place to perform this duty.
Construction of a new Parliament building is a component of a master plan to redevelop downtown Kingston. The Houses of Parliament design competition was staged and managed by the Urban Development Corporation UDC in partnership with the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation and the Houses of Parliament.
And so it leaves me then to say that it is a wonderful privilege for this organization to be associated with this project. But more importantly, we will celebrate in short order in the next several months when the actual building is completed and the Parliament assume its place. That would be a wonderful achievement, and that would be a true time to celebrate.
In the meantime, the winner will spend a few months finalizing the design.
I believe this project is a catalyst for much more than just a building. This is just the beginning of an incredible growth for this country.
To learn more about the work of the Urban Development Corporation, call 876-656-8031 or visit their website at udcja.com. You may also follow them on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram, or visit their information center on the ground floor, Kingston Mall, downtown Kingston.
Keep we island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty up Jamaica, please don't do it. Keep we island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty up Jamaica, please don't do it.
No dash, no paper, no dash, no plastic. Dispose your garbage responsibly. No know how to recycle, learn it quick. And if you drop it, better pick up every piece of it. Plastics last forever, don't forget the bits. Cause when them touch the street, them end up in the sea. Collect pan the reef where they fish them feed. And when you want seafood, I eat your eat.
Keep the island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty up Jamaica, please don't do it. No dirty up Jamaica, no dirty up Jamaica, no dirty up Jamaica, no dirty up Jamaica.
As we close today's show, we ask that you stay connected via our website, jis.gov.jm. And while you're online, send your feedback to Jamaica Magazine at jis.gov.jm or via tweet at JIS News. On behalf of the entire production crew, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Do take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.